Grab yourself a cup of tea while we make these Valentine's Day inspired cookies. I will be the first to admit that I don't always bake for Valentine's Day or events, but since having a blog, it has really pushed me to try new things, to try and build new memories and new traditions. So with Valentine's Day coming up this new year, I thought it would be perfect to try these checkerboard cookies in a Valentine's Day inspired colours. This is a very easy recipe. You can even go one step further with a cookie cutter. I will show you that in the end of the video, but it is super easy. You're going to add all of your ingredients into your bowl. I added it into this glass bowl so that you could see for reference, but I am going to add it into my stand mixer. If you haven't already and you are a keen baker like I am, try and pick up a stand mixer. Look on Facebook Marketplace or on eBay or any secondhand sites that are available to you if you can't afford a new one. Don't worry about going for expensive brands. Something normal and standard will do the job absolutely perfectly. I absolutely love my stand mixer, and for the heavier things like doughs, it is absolutely brilliant. You're going to make your dough in one batch and then split them into two and add your natural food colouring. I'll show you the natural food colouring that I got, which is on Amazon. Be sure to make sure that you are getting natural food colouring, as you don't want to be putting any additional preservatives or chemicals in your baking when you are at home in your kitchen. When it comes to Valentine's Day, you don't have to make anything for anyone. You can make these for yourself, you can make these with your children, just to share the love and spread the joy. You can even make them and give them to neighbours or a local charity. Maybe a care home would appreciate a fresh batch of cookies. It is hard to always try to bake or make things from scratch, so only do it if you feel like you want to and it's going to be a fun, enjoyable time for you. Don't feel like you have to keep up with social media trends just for the sake of it. This is the cookie cutter I have. I ended up not using it. I thought I would keep the square checkerboard pattern, but this would have been absolutely perfect with a heart cookie cutter, one that I don't actually own. I know, surprising considering the amount of random baking tools that I do have. You can see that my dough was made within a few minutes, and now I will compress it, split it into two, and begin to add my pink food colouring back in the stand mixer to half of the mix. The pink and white colours doesn't have to stop here. You can get really creative and add green or blue or red and even yellow. You can do football colours, you can do sports teams, you can do other events like St. Patrick's Day, Thanksgiving. So you can really get creative on the designs and the colours, and even with the icing on the top at the end if you choose to. It is so easy to incorporate a food colouring into your dough, especially if you have the stand mixer. If you don't, I would recommend using some plastic food grade gloves just to mix it all, incorporate it all, and then you won't get all of that dye over your hands. In the background here I have my baking tray, so I'm just going to put one of the doughs over here for now. Place your dough in between two layers of baking paper, and then we're going to roll out to about 1/2 inch. I haven't experimented very much with black food colouring. It is a very hard pigment to get into colours, especially when you want to only use natural flavourings. So that is something that I'm going to experiment with in the future, because I do think that the traditional black and purple or black and green Halloween colours would be a very fun addition to my recipes. When your dough is ready, you're going to roll it out about a centimetre thick, or as thick as you want your cookies. Sometimes I use the parchment paper just to double check that the die won't go onto my rolling pin, but it was fine in this case. It didn't transfer to any of the other surfaces. I use my herb cutter as a guide to just cut in these into large rectangles, and then I'm going to just go along and cut the strips. You will see exactly what I mean in a second. There is a nice addition that you could also flavour the two types of doughs. You could do a strawberries and cream flavoured or rhubarb and custard. So there really is limitless options on the different colours and the different flavourings that you might want to incorporate into some cookies. This is a really satisfying and relaxing time just to sit down and assemble the cookies. And as I said, you can really get creative. You can do as much or as little as you want in regards to the design. So just take time and see what you enjoy and what you don't enjoy. Just because it is Valentine's Day, as I said, don't feel pressured just to keep up with trends or social media. This is my hobby. I enjoy it so much. So for me, I definitely love to bake when I get the time. Once you have made your strips, lay them next to each other. I alternate the colours. I go about 5 across and 6 up. You can see that the strips aren't perfectly the same width. It doesn't matter too much, but if you want to get really precise, you can probably make your design a lot better and neater than mine. Once you have assembled this first strip, you're just going to alternate the same layers as you go up. Once that whole design is complete, you then want to wrap up your design and leave it to sit on the counter or in the fridge for about half an hour before cutting it. That allows the dough to really join together and adhere to its surface, so then you won't have the strips fall apart in the baking process. I obviously chose to just cut squares, but you can really get creative. You can then cut the squares and realign them to each other, roll them out, and you would get some really intricate designs. So be creative, and if you make this design or this recipe, please do let me know. Tag me on Instagram with your pictures. I would love to see it and get some inspiration. As you go along, just keep pressing the dough strips together. That will help you adhere them, but you can see that you don't need any bonding agent. They will just get the moisture from each other and then be able to stick and create that perfect design. Re-roll your doughs out and just use the remaining strips for reference, so that you can get the remaining bits of dough used for your cookies. What are your traditions for Valentine's Day or other holidays for that matter? I don't view Valentine's Day as a holiday that requires gifts. I just bake, so I obviously am going to bake this year some cookies or maybe some cakes, but I don't do that every year. I don't think that Valentine's Day needs to be something where we just go out and spend money on gifts for the sake of it. Love is about spending quality time together and wanting to spend that time with someone that makes you very happy. It doesn't have to even be a relationship, and it could just be a friendship. Maybe you want to take some time out for yourself and have a lovely bubble bath. There's no pressure, and holidays like this just should be for fun and enjoyment. This is the most exciting part, where all of your hard work comes together and you can see that beautiful design that you have created. Just use a standard kitchen knife to slice down to the width of cookies that you require. It isn't a nerve-wracking part because you know exactly how your design is going to turn out and it's going to be amazing. So I really hope that you enjoy this design. It's something that I will be making again in the future. Lay your cookies out onto your baking tray and then we are going to bake them for about 12 minutes. You could really get creative with the icing stage at the end of this, but I wanted the design to really show for itself, and so I thought I would allow them to shine without any more icing. The flavour is absolutely delicious. We've added vanilla extract. I didn't think they needed anything more to today's batch. Once your cookies are finished baking, allow them to cool on your baking tray and then flip them upside down. That will be the best side to showcase your design. So you'll see that they will really settle and flatten out once they cool completely. Store your cookies in an airtight container and they will be good for at least 5 days. I really hope that you try this recipe, and if you have any flavour recommendations or variations, please do let me know. Be kind to yourself and enjoy the holidays, and I will see you on the next one.